gentlemen, dear guests. On behalf of His Excellency President of the Republic, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and on behalf of myself, I convey to you the thank and appreciation of His Excellency for honoring us by attending this forum and the effort that you exerted to make it a success and fulfilling the outcome from the conference. What made us meet in those days is our awareness that corruption is the biggest enemy for the people of the African continent, and our awareness that corruption poses a great challenge before the efforts of democratic transition and fulfilling stability and building strong countries capable to choose its destiny and hold those who are responsible accountable. So during the sessions of the forum, we listened to a lot of words and different point of views. And we followed the serious discussions that want to reach serious and firm mechanism to fight corruption and overcome it. Everyone presented his vision, and we learned from each other. August gathering. We meet here in Egypt. We here in Egypt renew our pledge to continue in supporting and fostering the capabilities of the African cadres by training programs or international cooperation or sharing in international events and forums. And actually, we started to implement 250 training program as a grant for those who work in the control agencies. And we held several training courses in the field of integrity, transparency, and anti-corruption for those who work at the stock exchange and African control agencies. And so many senior leaders from African countries attended. We were also keen to update them with the modern practices to minimize the widespread of corruption and means of combat and preventing it. Dear guests, I would like to confirm that anti-corruption is not easy, and it requires collaboration of all efforts to overcome it. It honors me to present to you the recommendations we reached after the valuable discussions that took place in this forum. 1. Preparing an integrated strategic plan for combating and prevention of corruption at the African continent that include education, scientific research, media, judiciary, technical combat, and fostering economic and human development. And this could be attained through forming a joint committee from the concerned agency to be responsible to prepare and follow up the national strategies and the experts at the African countries. Number 2, collaboration of efforts to put an African index to measure corruption in Africa, where it springs from the African context and expressing the reality in the African content and its speciality, putting into consideration the individual differences between African countries. Launching a continental platform through a focal communication point that is responsible to monitor and follow up the updates in the corruption case and the outcomes of the combat efforts, and follow up the commitment of the countries that signed the UNCAC and the African Union Convention signed for 2003, where every country take the necessary measures and procedures according to its legal systems and constitutional principles to ensure minimizing corruption, on condition that they meet annually and announce the outcome of their work and recommendations. Number 4, preparing an electronic mechanism that is secured for immediate exchange of information on the crimes of corruption, money laundering, financing terrorism between the countries that have mutual interest, while expanding of spreading the efforts of different agencies of combating corruption in African countries to raise the awareness of the citizen in general and incentivizing them to report corruption in all its forms. Number 5, establishing a legal mechanism for cooperation between the African countries regarding recovery of the proceeds of corruption that would be in the form of a protocol attached to the AACF on condition that the resolution of this mechanism would be binding for all state parties to the African Union Convention on Preventing Combating Corruption. Number 6, continuous review for the anti-corruption mechanism, updating them to go in line with the speciality of the countries that will be implemented in, while ensuring on the joint objectives for the African countries to fulfill a high level of transparency on condition that this would take place in the annual conference for the AACA, African Association of Anti-Corruption Authorities. 7, fostering cooperation with international partners to provide the financial and technical capabilities for anti-corruption in a way that fulfill mutual interest. Expansion in signing more MOUs and protocols of cooperation between the National Anti-Corruption Academy in Egypt and the training centers and the control agencies in the African countries to train, qualify the African cadres in the field of combating and prevention of corruption and spreading the values of integrity and transparency. 10, studying, developing a regular mechanism to hold a forum periodically where they present what happened with the recommendation that issues from the forums periodically. Lastly, developing the ability of the agencies working in the field of anti-corruption to identify the modern methods in laundering the proceeds of a crime, while taking serious measures to identify the reasons of why it's not possible to recover the assets in Africa, to determine the place of assets, recover them, freeze them, and seize them. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, before I close my speech, I would like to extend with deep thanks and appreciation to everyone who participated in organizing the forum, in preparation, planning, implementing. Worthy to mention representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the moderators, speakers from Egypt, Excellencies the ministers and head of agencies and the judicial authorities, civil society organizations, also the speakers from the friendly African and brotherly African countries who were keen to participate, transfer their experiences. I won't miss to thank the men of the military forces, the Egyptian police, as well as the governor of the Central Bank of Egypt and the governor of South Sinai for their unlimited support for the forum. A warm welcome and appreciation to Excellencies members of the ACA, who every day a warm welcome to the honorable members of the ACA, who every day give us a new page and show tremendous effort, and they exert hard work. In the close, I would like to stress to you that Egypt is paying great concern and attention to the mother continent, the beloved African continent. That's why it was a must to find the necessary mechanism to implement the recommendations that came out from this forum. That's why those recommendations will be referred to African Association of Anti-Corruption Authorities for discussion tomorrow, and which will hold the fourth conference tomorrow for 2 days here in Sharm el-Sheikh. As an extension of this forum, also referring the African Union Advisory Board wishing to come up with positive outcomes that could be a core for a unique work and other initiative and a clear strategic vision to overcome corruption so that our African countries would enjoy a new life that it deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, august gathering, dear guests, I promise you that we would meet in the near future and to follow with all honesty and determine the recommendations that came out from this forum and exert our best effort to fulfill what we hope to be best for our great continent. And we contemplate how our countries achieved successes in combating and prevention of corruption. Our sons the sons of the beloved African continent will stand proud of what we're trying to achieve for them in the future. History will witness that the participants of this forum played a tremendous role in eradicating corruption from a continent that was tired by corruption and would be able to reach a point through which we can say with all honor, Africa is a continent with zero corruption. Wishing you a safe return to your beloved countries, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of you.